And we are joined here today from our representatives from Fort Valley State, our little SIAC preview for this 2026 men's volleyball season, the back-to-back champs out of the SIAC. Uh, let's get this one started. You guys ready? Oh, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Let's go. Let's do that.
For those that don't know me, my name is Isaiah Fed, a senior outside hitter for the Fort Valley State University.
For those who don't know me, hey, Coach Larry Rather. Glad to be here, Joe. I appreciate you taking the time, boss. It's awesome.
Glad that we could finally get on a call because you've left me after our meeting in Columbus. We've got a lot of things to talk about. First, a little bit away from Fort Valley State, still talking about Fort Valley State, but Coach Rather, you've had quite a summer. All right, let's read it off. You spent the time with both the USA national team in the Pan America Cup as well as the National Development Series, where you were development analyst for the Pan America Cup. What were these types of opportunities? What did they mean for you and helped you grow as a coach? And what are you taking away from those experiences heading into this season?
Joe, it's big. I can give you the full story of how it all kind of happened, and I'll get to it. But, for me, it's something super special. I think maybe around March, sometime last year, I was sitting down with our university photographer who became a good friend of mine and would travel with us. I think you met him probably at the tournament, DJ. And I was like, man, like my goal is like 2028. I want to be in LA. Like I want to be in that spot. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't care if I got to volunteer. I want that spot. Um, and it just out of nowhere, like it literally came out of nowhere that I was asked. And at the time, it was more of me kind of reaching out into the pipeline, asking about Zay, because at that time we were talking about him getting into internships and what his summer was going to look like. And if they were going to have him in the gym, he would need to schedule his internship properly to make sure he could be there, because we both know that's a big aspiration and a dream of his. And I'm always going to help our guys achieve those things. But I got back from AAU's recruiting that Sunday. That Monday morning, I woke up to come to work like normal. And I checked my emails real fast and I saw there's an email from Coach Karai. And I said, oh, they're checking in about Zay. All right, let's do this. I don't read the subject titles about anything. I just open the email. And so I'm starting to read it. And as I'm reading, I'm like, oh, oh, this is not about Zay. Okay, cool. So I had a call with Karch and he talked to me about the experience and they want to offer me the ability to come out and help out and get some learning and all that. And I learned a lot and everything I always learn, I tell my guys, I bring it home to us. This is my tribe. We're going to all learn these things so we have more guys that have the potential of making that gym and not really getting lost and drowning out. Um, but I think it's more so for what it shows others that look like me than it is just for me. The magnitude of what it holds for that experience. On its own, it's a beautiful experience. Loved it. Great time. Took a lot from it. But I think the impact it'll make ripples and waves of is what I'm kind of more appreciative of.
I love that. I mean, when you get an email from Karch Karai, you gotta that is something you are responding to within the second. That is one hell of an email to get. Zay, you finished last season. You finished top 15 in kills per set. You finished top 10 in hitting percentage, and you enter the season, at least for me, as one of the top 10 outside hitters in the country. You hear this experience that Coach Rather had. You're working towards getting to that upper echelon of respect. What could you say about being one of the best attackers in the country, even while competing in the SIAC?
I would say that, especially in terms of the SIAC, a lot of people may, while you do say you consider me as one of the best outside hitters, a lot of people may have their opinions that say otherwise because of the conference that I play in. And with that being said, I understand that everyone has a right to their own opinion. But in order to get to the point where I'm at currently, it has been a process of not necessarily basing my successes or my capabilities on the court based upon my conference or those that I'm playing, but more so challenging myself every day, whether that's in extra reps or with a team or whoever. As you saw last year against Long Beach, it wasn't me versus Long Beach, it was just me versus myself. So it was just seeing how far I could push myself. And that's what's gotten me to this point. So with that being said, I just, even like this season, this being my last one, I'm just looking to continue to challenge myself and do better than I even did last year.
That's something for sure. And there's no grad senior transfer Isaiah Fed in future UCLA outside hitter in the future. We'll talk about that later. But Coach Rather, you got this young man sitting on the Zoom with you. What can you say about his development from when he first stepped on campus as a freshman to where he is now? Again, in my eyes, regardless if he's in the SIAC or if he was in Division 3, one of the best outside hitters in the country.
I mean, shoot, I think as you were asking that question, we both kind of made a face of just like thinking, and we were talking about honestly, it was yesterday, wasn't it, Zay?
I was thinking about the interview from Nationals back in what was that? Was that 23
That
or
was your sophomore year, yeah.
my sophomore year? Yeah, that's the my immediate thought.
Yeah, but
I'm missing out on something.
Zay
What's the what's
There was a question like that during that interview.
him as a freshman when he came in was the best way I like to say it is he was just a wild stallion. He had the pure ability to do a lot of physical things and he needed to hone in a little. And, sometimes you got to break them, right? But Zay really wasn't necessarily that. Zay just needed some guidance. Like most guys in our gym, they just need some guidance and some help to get where they need to go. And, Zay hit a hiccup in his career within his sophomore year, and we talk about it, and we're not afraid to shy from it. And it was academic reason why he stepped away from Fort Valley. He was looking to pursue more in a doctor role and get into medicine, and he wasn't going to be on track in the way he wanted to go. And so he and I sat down, trying to figure out a way for it to work and for him to stay, and it just wasn't going to look feasible. And so he had to find somewhere he can academically, because at the end of the day, volleyball ends. And so he transferred out the fall of his sophomore year. His best friend was still on the team at the time, Tavian Martin. They're thing one and thing two. And at the time, Zay and him obviously stayed in contact, and Zay reached out, and I don't know the full conversation of it, but Zay texts me, and then the next day I go to Tay and I go, "What's your boy want? Why is he texting me?" And so we had a conversation, and it was a very open and honest and candid conversation. It's kind of how I am with my guys on a day-to-day. I don't sugarcoat it. I told him coming back, it was going to be tough. He's going to have to earn my trust back. He's got to earn the trust back of his fellow teammates. And, when Zay stepped foot on campus again, we left to go to California, to UCLA and SC for that trip. And he stayed home and he just grinded out. I think he was in that year, you saw the mental change in him. Like he was getting up, we practiced at 6 in the morning. He was getting up at 4 in the morning to get extra passing reps because his day was so booked out. But he had to make time because he knew this is a dream of his and something he wants to be great. And like he said, he doesn't necessarily have like an end goal of I want to achieve this as an athlete. It's just I want to see how far I can take this thing. How far can I push myself? How far can I push my abilities? And where I end up is beautiful. And I know with his work ethic, I don't think there's anybody in America, and I'll stand 10 toes on it, that will outwork this young man on a day-to-day basis. The best part that I've seen from him this year is the leadership role he's taken as he continues to strive from it, and he doesn't really like it. And it's not him. He's not a guy who's going to lead vocally. He's going to lead by action. He has stepped up out of his comfort zone. He's taken a couple of the younger guys and our new guys under his wing and kind of started showing them the ropes of what it means to reach this status, to reach this pinnacle, and what our standards are in our program. We're no longer the year 2, year 3 program. Like we're going into year 5, really year 6, season 5. of our program, and now we're starting to develop what our culture is, and now it's cementing it in, and he's a very important part into our culture. And he is, I mean, in the fall, it used to be guys were afraid of my conditioning. And then they started doing Zay's conditioning. And I was like, I don't have to get up early anymore to run the conditioning. They'll do it with him. I'm good. Let that run. You save me an extra hour of sleep. I'll take it. But, it just started becoming more player ran. And that's something I speak heavily in our program is bad teams, no one leads. Good teams, coaches lead. Great teams, captains lead. Championship teams, everyone leads. And he is starting that because he's technically not a leader for us in a captain, quote unquote, role. But he carries that load for us very well in helping us get those guys where they need to be.
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. Let me try my best. Zay, I hear that's the part that coach said. You're waking up at 4 for a 6 o'clock practice, getting those extra reps. That's this type of stuff that people don't see. The people that have that opinion of the SIAC being whatever you want to say, where everybody is still trying to be the best, whether you're in the SIAC, whether you're in the NEC, whether you're in the MIVA MPSF. What can you say about this program that has instilled in you that drive to be the best, where you're waking up at 4 a.m. for those extra reps, being the best that you can possibly be, and even in a situation where you may have transferred out, you come back? What about this program, has you so entrenched in what Coach Rather is preaching?
I wouldn't say that the program necessarily instilled it into me. It more so gave me the opportunity and a new perspective of what I had within myself. So to expound upon that, it was a period of time when I originally first got into college and I was playing volleyball where I was basically saying like I didn't like volleyball. I was just playing in order to just get through college. Like that was literally my mindset. I was like, I'm gonna go to practice and I'm gonna play and I'm gonna get through my day. I'm gonna go to class because, like Coach was saying, I was more so academically based, focused with me going to medical school at the time. And with going into my sophomore year, I took that step away and I was focusing on that. And with that, I took a step away from volleyball for some time. And I started realizing it's kind of like when you lose something, that's when you understand how valuable it is to you. So when I took that time away and I wasn't really playing volleyball like that, I started understanding like, man, I really don't like this. Like I don't like not grinding, literally like that part of just casually, like if anything, I'll go to a local open gym. Like volleyball is not fun to me anymore unless I'm being challenged. I've gotten to a certain point now where if I'm not necessarily playing a high level team or if I'm not being able to stay focused, even if we're playing a team that's not that of a certain caliber that you would expect, I have to remain focused the entire time. And what I started to understand is that with that time off, I'm starting to lose my edge. I'm not in communication with my teammates who I spend a lot of time with on a daily basis. And I started to realize through this program that there's literally nothing like it. A lot of athletes will say, "Oh, well, our program is special and we got this going on." And like we were just talking about, our season's gonna be different this year. In all reality, that is how I truly feel about our program in the sense that it helped me realize that this is a safe space. Like we bring it up all the time, like the SIAC is filled with plenty of HBCUs. This is a safe space for people that look like me to play in a sport where we are the minority. So just that alone, and then also just being able to set an example. Um, I believe that with me being here at this program, it gives me an opportunity that I wouldn't have anywhere else in the sense of, like my coach is saying, not necessarily directly being a leader, but just showing people that you don't have to go to I'm not knocking like a UCLA or USC or anything. Those are great programs, and they've proven themselves over time and time again. But you don't have to go to these huge schools with all this hype in order to be a top tier athlete. I didn't. And you don't have to have all the bells and whistles in order to do so. But I also think that it's even more valuable the fact that I didn't go that route because of the fact that it gave me a different perspective on how I value volleyball and like in the sense of there's more to it than just getting on the court and just scoring a point. Literally, like we were just talking about, even with the social media thing, like with me just posting like volleyball content, there's plenty of kids, I don't even know them. And they'll just text me and they'll just say, like, oh, like I love the videos. And it's like it's so crazy to just see you out there playing. It really gives you a perspective being in this program specifically that it's more than just us, or it's more than what we can just see. There's people out there that you wouldn't even imagine you might be impacting by simply just playing the game or the things that you said just on a day-to-day basis. Literally just the way that I carry myself in practice can carry on into someone else's life that's on my one of my teammates with something that they personally have going on. And it's just I don't think that I would have this perspective if I was attending any other institution.
You talk about your social media. You had Coach Rather mention your conditioning. I want to come you and you've kind of combined the two with your workout videos, with your training. Where did that come from? Why did you choose to take on this mantle of uh, influencer? You know, you've got your final season. You're a busy guy. You know, nobody really understands how hard it is to be a Division I athlete and try to go into medical school. Like that in and of itself is really impressive. But to be at the level that you're at and doing it all, where does that grind come from?
It's more so just I think it's always been there. I believe that I was more so raised with that sense of work ethic. I think that's also a big part of the recruiting process where coaches, it's very hard to and very difficult in order to understand a player. They may be a standout player in terms of how they can produce on the court and what you can see just through a club tournament and film and whatnot. But at the end of the day, there's certain things that you can't teach players. It's like work ethic. It's not something that you can teach someone, regardless of whatever sport you play. How you behave when you're faced with adversity or controversy. That's not something that you're necessarily taught. It's more so something that you're raised in order to learn for yourself based upon your life and your own perspective. So I would say I really gained that work ethic just through living my life, like the way I was raised with my parents. And then, especially, I think the large shift was me stepping away from the program. Um, because ever since then, I would say like me as a freshman and me now are completely like two different people. Um, that's even in the sense of how I'm more so there for my teammates. Um, I had to look at it in the sense of like a lot of athletes don't even bring it up, just mental health. Um, Being there for people beyond the court. I think the work ethic associated with that is something that I'm not just here to help you when we're on the court and we're playing in a game, but I'm also here to help you when something personally back home is bothering you and now you're taking it into practice. Because people say all the time, you have to separate your work from like your personal life. But we're human beings. At the end of the day, it's going to intertwine itself. So it's just having that certain level of perspective is going to carry into, oh, well, I'm not really working for myself. I'm working for the people that are around me, the people that are watching me, and the people that support me. So it's more so for everyone else because I'm recognizing that the work and the commitment that other people are putting into it. So I can't really slack on what I'm doing, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Coach, I'm going to move back to something that we talked about at the NCAA tournament. You had two analogies that really stuck with me. One was about building a program and that relation to growing bamboo. The other was your reference to the third Rocky film. I have two questions for you. How's that bamboo looking, and what Rocky movie are we in currently for the Fort Valley State this season?
Well, I'll give you, I would say the bamboo is, so what most people don't understand is bamboo is actually a weed, and it's invasive. So once it starts growing, it spreads like wildfire and it begins growing drastically. I think we're in that stage. We're in a stage of fostering our bamboo forest to start to come to fruition. And most people are gonna say, "How do I know so much about bamboo?" It's random, but there are places with bamboo in Georgia around us. There was almost a house I had that had a bamboo field next door to it that someone again found out it was a weed, and it grows like it's just drastic. It takes over. It's invasive. And that's kind of where we are with the program. I think with the new guys we have in the next generation of Wildcats, and we start to see our first true cycle end, you see the difference immediately. And I was talking about it, and it's no knock to our guys in the past, but this is probably our best Fort Valley team, as it should be on top of that. But I think this is our best Fort Valley team. Just pound for pound, talent wise, we're there. We just may be a little young, like maybe a little immature court wise, but talent wise, we have everything we need to be extremely successful at this program. And then when you have guys like Zay and our captains and Dozy, who you got to talk with last year, helping foster these young guys and showing them, hey, this is what it means to be here. This is what it means to operate at this level. Like, we don't wait for the championship to compete at the championship. We do that today. We don't wait for any of it. So I'd say we're in a beautiful stage of the bamboo. In the Rocky movies, we are now in probably Creed 2.
Okay. What about Creed 2 specifically that you can make that comparison towards? They've made that success and now we're trying to maintain it.
Yeah, right. Like you showed the world you could do it, and now you're coming back and you have another challenge ahead of you because we still have a couple of firsts we're trying to get in our program. We're still trying to get our first Division I conference opponent win. We're still trying to get our first top 25 ranking. We're still trying to get our first win on somebody who is ranked. Like, we don't have small goals in this program, because if you dream small, what's the point of dreaming at all? So I'd say we're around Creed 2, trying to reprove what we've done. And, this new group is taking over a lineage of Creed, right, who was before Michael B. Jordan when he came in. And now this next group of younger guys is trying to figure out their path while we have our older group kind of aging out of it. And now they're finding their footing and their steps.
I love these responses because in every one you're touching on another question that I've already planned to ask. To go back a little bit, both Coach Rather and Zay, you've mentioned this talent base, not only in your program, but the ability to go to a smaller program and still succeed and be a player at a high level. I feel like most of these teams, again, not a diss to anybody in the MPSF and the Big West, but they've got such a monopoly on this talent. And even though we're in a time where the sport of volleyball is really uncertain, the landscape with the roster changes, with programs being cut, you're seeing people leaving those teams, using the transfer portal and enriching the other schools, other programs that are in need for that talent. What can you say about how this ever-changing landscape is benefiting small programs, small schools, and continuing to grow not only those programs and where they're at in their progress, but just the entire sport as a whole, upping that competition level?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just natural, right? When you have more places, you even look in the high school realm, in the club scene, right? When I was coming up, there was really in the Midwest only 3 clubs. Now there's a ton that are actually competitive and are competing with one another, and some are newer than when my club is still around, right? And there are newer clubs that are performing better than they are. Same thing with Florida. Florida used to be like an ocean bay, but now you have Winter Park taking over, right? So like when there's more opportunities, there's always places for kids to be found. And that's the part that really matters the most. And I think the non-name schools, in a sense, is what I'll use. I won't say big schools because I think Lewis and I think McKendree are big schools in my opinion. They've proven it, and that's big in our gym is you have to prove it in order for me to give it respect. And so I put them in that. They're a named school, people who know who they are. They're starting to pull in big time players. I mean, Nikki has someone who played in the Final Six with the national team, right? That's a first for their program. She had McCraney with her in the U23 team. So like they are slowly but surely starting to see other schools and other opportunities that I may go there, but if I'm there, it may be 3 years before I see the court. But now that there are more opportunities and I still play that same competition, I still get the same or equal or around the same coaching, whatever it may be, you're seeing that I still have places to grow and to foster. And it's just now the kids, depending on what they're wanting and the things they're looking for is what's important. And, you know, when we're talking to guys about our program, it's, we ain't got all the flashy lights. We don't have all this. We have the bare minimum and we're going to use it. You see that, go pick it up. That's weight, right? I don't need this beautiful multi-million-dollar weight facility for me to go lift some weight. Just give me something that's heavy and I'm going to move it, right? We grind in the dark, so when it's time to shine the light, we shine bright, right? So we don't look for all this excess stuff to make us feel like we belong. We're going to make you know we belong.
Zay, you hear a lot of what Coach Rather said, where there's no small goals. You're still looking to succeed at levels that we haven't reached. But in terms of what this program has done, you've reached levels that not a lot of programs have. 2 national championship appearances. And what can you say? What can we expect from this Wildcats program in 2026?
You can expect for us to only go up from here. There's no reason why we shouldn't. And you can also expect for people to not agree with that. But that's the best part, is proving them wrong.
I love that. I love that. And that's the thing. People are proven wrong on so many levels because that's my favorite dialogue is being able to come to the defense of a Fort Valley State, being like, they've done what they've needed to do to get here. Do not discredit any of the talent that's on that roster. Do not discredit where they're at in their career, because without them, you know, where's this sport going? We're seeing more diverse competition and growing conferences that 5 years down the line are going to be some of the best conferences in the country. Coach Rather, you look at your schedule. We've talked about it a little bit. You've got a 4-game series in California where you face off against UCLA, Long Beach, CSUN, and USC. And then you also have a 2-game series in Utah against BYU. What about scheduling those opponents helps grow your team, and especially going into a conference schedule in the SIAC where you're seeing that competition early on in the season, and then your team's prepared for whatever else may come?
You know, I was nicknamed the Wizard of Worthen for a reason. I'm a mad scientist at the end of the day. You know, I like to trial by fire is huge in my life and what I like to do and how I treat our program. And I think opening up with that trip and then going into BYU and you know, I think our whole non-conference schedule in general from top to bottom is pretty difficult. But that's what we need. We have to live in that discomfort. We have to live in adversity. So when we get into conference, we can see, okay, we may have been a little lacking here. This may or may not move at the same pace. And if it's not, it's going to allow us the ability now to clean things up a little bit at a more reasonable pace and not have to almost try to swim while drowning to stay alive. So really it's to get punched in the mouth right away and then get ready for the next fight, get punched in the mouth again and keep on going. And it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get up.
Zay, what is exciting you about those matchups? Because you finish your season you finish in the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament where you lead the match in kills against a Long Beach State team that later went on and won the national championship. You not only do you get to face off against Long Beach State again, you get to face off against the number one team in UCLA. You get to face off against USC, which is one of the the most exciting teams in the country this year, apparently, and then a BYU team that's really unknown. What are you taking into those games to put the world on notice, to show everybody that, once again, why you are a top 10 pin hitter in the country?
The first thing that came to mind was that I'm not necessarily, how should I put it? I'm not necessarily looking to like display anything in particular. It's more so I'm just gonna keep on doing what I've been doing for the past 3 years. Like I've always considered myself to be a top athlete in the sport that I play, but a lot of people just don't expect that of me. So going into these games, I'm just gonna keep on doing like I'm gonna keep on playing how I play. I'm not going to question the way I play. I'm not going to question the coaching that we have available to us. And I'm just going to play, basically just play my game. That's what I did when I went to Long Beach. Literally, it was so weird because I remember like as a high school student just watching like these top level like college athletes playing, like just watching like from my phone off YouTube. It just looked like they were just so insane. Like, oh my goodness, like how are they making these plays and everything? And then we went to the nationals. I remember it wasn't my sophomore year. My sophomore year, I was like really nervous. But going in my junior year, like I was just watching literally what were the games before us? They had the Hawaii Penn State match, and I believe they had one more. It was
UCLA Belmont Abbey.
oh yes, okay.
Yeah.
UCLA Belmont Abbey. And I was just watching like these like top programs, like games that I've never seen before in my life, like in person. I'm just like, I can do everything these people are doing. Like they're not doing anything different from what I'm capable of doing in the gym. So like just understanding that, I'm like, dang, I can compete at this level. Like it's not a surprise to me or something that I'm worried about proving because I've already proved that to myself. And at this point, it's just everyone else recognizing it. It's really everyone else catching up to what I've already been seeing, what my coaches have been seeing. So it's not like I feel like I got a chip on my shoulder necessarily going into these games.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you because I honestly I'm of the same opinion as you, when especially when we were at the national championship last year, when they're all on the same court together. There's nothing other than maybe size, and that's where a lot of teams, size and strength, where you get a lot of teams. But in terms of just the systems that they're running, the style of play, and just overall, the type of volleyball that everyone's playing, I feel like we're all on the same kind of level. But that takes me into my next question, Coach Rather. What can you say not only about the talent that you're seeing every day in your gym, but the talent that you're seeing in your conference of the SIAC? That makes it such a reputable. What was my question? Why this conference deserves respect?
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly growing. You have guys within our conference that I think could do what Zay does, and it just because we're only a 5-year conference doesn't necessarily mean we don't have the talent or the capability of training those kind of athletes. And so now that we're starting to get our program to the tournament, at some point there may be another team that comes from our conference that takes our place. Not for a very long time, but there are athletes, and the reason why this conference was started is because it's to help our U.S. national team in the pipeline, right? A lot of our pipeline has been very Caucasian. And we have not been using the full demographic of what the American people embody. And now we're starting to touch and train into that demographic a little more. So who knows? We may find another Merrick McHenry. We may find another Jacob Pasteur. We may find another Isaiah Fed sooner. That now we have 2 or 3, another Ben Patch, right? Like there are so many guys that barely touch and scrape the surface that are men of color in our national team gym, and it's mostly because of when they started or the training I wish they had, or just not having representation that makes you believe you have an opportunity. And I think that's why it's so huge to see Jacob and Merrick doing what they're doing on the national team level. Is they may be the first two next to Patch, who's the closest of actually rostering as an Olympian, as a man of color. I think the last time that happened was the second team of like USA volleyball history. I think that was 1984-ish or something. If I go on my phone right now, I'll be able to find it. But off the top of my head, I think it's around then. And there was only one guy. And there hasn't been one since. And I'm not saying that's anything else other than it's allowing more diversity of more of our athletes to come in. And I think giving these guys, if you look back to when UCLA and NPSF and the Big West first started in their year 5 as a conference, it did not look how it looks now. So you're putting a year 5 program in the same ballpark as a program that's in year 55, because UCLA is now in their 55th or 56th year as a program established. There's a huge drastic difference. There's alumni support. There is backing and funding and everything else, and that comes from having that longevity of a brotherhood. And so we're trying to build that now to over push us to be the best we can be as a nation when it comes to competing for an Olympic gold. Because at the end of the day, that's really what we're chasing. Yes, having a title as a college coach is great, but I'd rather our Olympic programs resemble more like me than not.
I can tell you right now that that's going on a graphic. Year 5 versus year 55. I could not have, you could not have gift wrapped a better response to any doubters or any, people that question the talent that's in this conference better than that right there, putting it in perspective of where we're at in the growth of our sport. But with that, do you have a message to those that consistently discredit what you guys do year in and year out?
Keep going for it. Words are pretty. We're about action. We'll see you.
Love that. Love that. Zay, you got anything?
I um I like I like that diversity of people's opinions because it's only utilized as motivation.
Mm.
It's better to have people against you and prove them wrong than everyone just basically patting you on the back, because that builds more character in my mind. So I have no issue with it.
Love it. Love it. Well, to wrap us up, what is one thing? Obviously, you can circle every game on your schedule, but what about 2026 are you most looking forward to?
You go first.
See? Nationals. That's the big one. At the end of the day, we have all of these out of conference games. We have our in conference, but it all surmounts to nationals. That's when it doesn't matter what your record looks like. It doesn't matter what teams you beat. At the end of the day, it doesn't even matter like how good of a team you have. When you get to that point, it's not really about who's a better team, but more so who's playing better that day. So at that point, I'm looking for Fort Valley to be playing better than anyone else that we may be competing against.
I made the schedule, so like I like all of them because I scheduled them, right? So I will say any match that Fort Valley is playing, I look forward to watching and being a part of. This is my tribe. Anywhere we can go and we can beat, I'm good with it. If you got to pick one, it'd definitely be our conference tournament because Natty's doesn't happen without getting through there first. So can't jump past this stone before we can get to the next one. So that'd probably be the one I look forward to the most.
Well, guys, I cannot say how grateful I am to have been able to be on this call with you. The messages, the just the quotes, all of it, it lights a fire underneath me just to know that Fort Valley State is one of those programs that you don't get very often. But there will be more Fort Valley States in the future. But for right now, Fort Valley State is the Fort Valley State. If you know what I'm saying.
You know,
Um,
you know.
you know what I mean. Well, guys, again, I appreciate you guys coming on. Hopefully this won't be the last time we talk, and looking forward, hopefully, to making out to a game this season. So,
Yes.
I,
Thank
I
you, Joe. We appreciate you having us and doing this. Like,
Definitely.
again, you are adding that voice for us to be able to get the representation and for people to really be able to understand these young men and get to meet them, you know. So thank you for your platform and this time to speak.
Yeah, well, I'm using it to the best of my ability, and I'm in no position. I've got the EIVA, I've got the IVA, I've got the SIAC. I'm in no position to say no to any of these conferences. If you have a message, if you have something to say, I am here to just voice it even louder. So again, thank you guys so much, and good luck this season.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.